the subtitles to not subtitle you going,
The Hunt for the Daywalker. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. Boo.
I don't have anything for that. It's
This
like,
says,
okay, whatever. Vampire Riderz.
This says, The Hunt for the Daywalker, welcome. Die if you suffer.
That's a good opening line.
Yeah, damn, die if you suffer is pretty good.
Man, it's been over 4 years and it's just now getting us to that.
Yeah. Is it too late for us to change the name of the podcast?
Just rebrand.
Edgy, extreme.
This is episode 239 of Die If You Suffer. I'm nobody in this movie because this movie was bad.
I'm Gunter.
Oh, Gunter's back.
I figured since we're rebranding.
I'm Scooter.
I'm
Gunter and Scooter.
Big fat load of horse cum, and you're getting mad at me.
Okay, it's subtitled that to Guntown Scooter, which I really like.
What the fuck is happening?
This episode's already broken down.
Katie's going to try to get away from looking at live captions in our Skype call long enough to tell us about 2013's Vampire Riderz.
I don't think it's gonna happen, to be honest with you.
Oh man, it won't let me scroll back up. It said that you said the funk is happening.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is what he said.
All around us, every day.
So I've turned on subtitles on Skype, and it's about to be grade. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know. I still think Amazon is the worst I've seen with when they do the like AI generated ones.
Oh yeah.
They're always like wildly wrong.
Well, hopefully this is not going to mess up my sound at all. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. This was bad. I'm already mad about having to talk about
I agree
this.
that it's bad, but I also think that it rocked.
About 15 minutes in, got so bored that I ended up just looking around Letterboxd for pretty much the rest of the movie.
It's the rare movie that I gave a 1.5 star, but I liked it.
I agree that my main problem with it was just that it was boring. Also, too many characters. But I also originally wrote Vampire Bikers with a Z, which I think is actually a movie. And then this movie, Vampire Riderz with a Z, is like a spoof of Vampire Bikers, which is probably a spoof of something else. So we're like 3 spoofs down at this point. It's not a funny movie. It's not like a spoof in that way. It's just like a rip. But also,
we should have watched Samurai Vampire Biker from Hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
This looks fucking incredible. I'm gonna send you guys the poster and the group text because I gotta find this movie for us to watch.
For some reason, I feel like that movie has come up before.
It's currently
that sounds very familiar.
It's currently only on sale, I think, for like on DVD or some shit on Amazon.
That's fine. I've got some DVDs.
Alexander
Maybe you
Hell.
heard of a little movie called Turbulence 3?
I have.
The best Turbulence.
Alexander Hell rides his Harley-Davidson motorcycle out from the dark abyss to battle samurai sword-carrying vampires who are unleashing their vengeance on modern-day Hollywood, California.
Yes. Look at that jean jacket over a leather jacket.
This movie looks
That is like
incredible.
a statement if I've ever seen one.
I'm gonna find us this movie.
All right.
I'll do that when
we should do it as
the shit.
We should do it as a doubleheader with Leaf Jonkers Darkness.
Jonkers?
Leaf Jonkers.
Oh shit, we can rent it on Prime for $1.99.
Hell yeah.
Let's see
All right, that's not bad.
Biker month coming soon.
Biker. So, my first issue with this movie. Oh wait, I already said it's boring. It also doesn't like the plot is fine. It's whatever. I wanted somebody to sort of explain to me, like I know the movie's called Vampire Riders, but like why? Like
There's
the
hardly any
vampires,
motorcycling.
there's like some motorcycling, and most of the vampires that they fight are riding around on motorcycles first, but like people just somehow already know that like all bikers are vampires? Question mark. I don't know. Also, when we were talking about the letterbox listing where there was like maybe 5 people or whatever, they left out, I felt,
About 300 people.
a very, very important person who shows up in this movie that well, Nathan already said to us in the group chat that he was in it, but I was
Steve
like so
Buscemi?
excited. Yeah.
Pretty wild that he
it
shows up
it was crazy.
as King Vampire. And
Man.
Adam Sandler is there as a motorcycle.
Yeah. Well, you've spoiled everything, so yeah, so I don't know. This just was just like very boring. I feel like
Yeah, like I said, I completely checked out like 15 minutes in, and I got very tired of hearing the word la la.
la 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 la. That's a beautiful name.
I think I would agree with y'all, but I made my buddy watch it with me, and it's a great time watching it with someone else.
Yeah, I
especially just like trying to guess where Terry Kaiser is going to wind up, because he's like, I'm too horny to be a priest. Like, what can I possibly do? And then it gets to his big redemption at the end, where it's like, no, you can be a good priest. Like, please forgive me. And he's like, yeah, no, I can't do it. I'm not a priest. And then like that's the end of him.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't know, like vampire movies are very much either like very good or really bad for me. Like it's not a whole lot of like in between.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, this one was just too boring, I think, and not horny enough for me from a vampire movie.
Needed way more sticky fingers.
I agree.
Here's the best part.
Yeah, but I mean, what movie doesn't need more?
Well, shall we dive in?
Just real bummer.
Let's bike in.
That at no point
vroom, vroom.
was there a Weekend at Bernie's joke in this movie.
I know. You got Bernie Lomax right there.
At least have him come back from the dead or something in this movie.
I felt like an insane person watching him, who can like actually kind of act, like giving way more to this movie than it deserved, and then just surrounded by people that have no idea what they're doing. It's like, oh my god. He's like crying during this priest scene and shit, and the lady that he's talking to is going in and out of the worst Southern accent I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, like, I don't know what she was doing. It was like sometimes she was very Southern, and sometimes she was like,
she just gave up.
English, like she was like British, and I was like, which one's the fake one here? I honestly can't tell. They're both bad.
There were a couple of people that were like, I'm going to do an accent. Wait, no, I'm not. And then they decided at the end of the movie, like, no, I think I'm going to go back to the accent.
I think I was feeling the accent. I'm going to pick it back up if you don't mind.
Yeah.
The master vampire guy, same thing.
Yes. His accent, like weird generic Eastern European thing that just faded away after 2 minutes.
I completely missed out on like whatever his deal was, like why he was dying.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think they specified.
I'll tell you. But also the script didn't make a lot of sense. Like,
no.
Whoever wrote the vampires dialogue has literally never seen a vampire movie in their whole life. He, like, anything he said was just like nonsensical. Their conversations went nowhere. The only thing I gleaned about the plot, I learned from our very special guest, Walter Emmanuel Jones, who is the very original Black Power Ranger. He is not listed in the credits for Letterboxd at all. I don't know if he was
or IMDb
on. This is on Tubi, obviously. I don't know if he was listed under Tubi, but he is a main character. He doesn't cameo. He is like a main character in this movie, and there's not a lick of credit or like you just don't know he's in the movie until you start watching it. And I like Nathan said it whenever you watched it or whatever, but I would have like choked when he showed up because I love him. He's also in one of my favorite movies, 1998's Break. No, I haven't seen Speed Demons yet. To be favorite, Speed Demons, which I assume is this movie, but demons instead of vampires.
Oh God, I hope not.
Also, the vampires look so fucking weird in this. Like Sticky Fingers looks normal. He just is like a guy with fangs, but a lot of the other vampires are like so strange looking.
I just like that, like, you can tell that he can't talk with those fangs in.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, they didn't give him like good ones. They were ones that like just take up like the whole mouth. So every time he talks,
it's plastic.
Yeah.
Like literally every vampire has a lisp because they're all talking around like the fake teeth or whatever. Okay. So this movie starts in a parking lot.
Good place
at
to start.
nighttime. Yeah. Good a place as any. There are two people who are making out in the back of a truck. For some reason, it's like black and whitish, and the lady is like trying to pressure the guy into like having sex, and he's just like, "Oh, I don't think we should. I'm different," and she's like, "I know whatever." She says something, and then he vamps out and he kills her. You know,
this is what I checked out.
It's such a powerful choice to open your film with a day for night shot that looks that dog shit.
It was
A+.
The rest of the movie doesn't look super great. It's like a little grainy. I don't know if we said it's from 2013.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just like a straight digital video.
Yeah, but the opening sequence looks so bad. I immediately was like, oh no, because I thought the whole movie was gonna look like it's like artificially black and white, and it's like the camera's on like a weird, it's just like askew, and it just was like terrible. But the rest of the movie is just kind of like a normal low budget like 2013 movie.
I really wonder if like this was like a pickup shot because they were like, we don't really have like
an opening,
a good opening for the movie, and like because everything else just looks like it was all shot at night.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if this was just like some shit they were like, man, we need something like a cold opening for the movie and just do it with that.
I think they almost definitely filmed everything else and were like, wait, we in no way made it clear that what's her name is the Daywalker. Like maybe we should film a little intro thing.
We should make it clear that these are vampires.
Yeah.
Wait, who's in the opening? I don't think that's the Daywalker.
That's supposed to be the mom, right?
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Y'all are supposed to know this because I didn't really pay attention to this movie, so. Okay,
but I also thought the mom died at some point, and it was just some like random person, and I had to like go back and scratch it out when she showed up again. So I couldn't. I don't know.
I'll watch the beginning and see.
None of it makes any sense. Even at the tail end, you know, they're looking for the Daywalker, and they kind of imply that it's the lady's daughter, but they never actually say who it is, and they're just like, whatever, who cares? Everyone survived.
Okay, that's totally fair. They don't actually say it is. Okay, so then there's like the title of the movie.
I think this is just like a random. Well, no, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I can't tell because, like, you know, sometimes the subtitles will show you like a name if they're like off screen talking, but like it doesn't say, and like she just kind of sort of looks like the other two women in this movie, but like not really.
It's hard to tell because it looks so shitty.
Yeah, it's in like a weird like blue filtered looking thing.
I feel like we're giving it. It would be giving it too much credit to say that it was her.
This woman kind of looks like in between the ages of like the mom and daughter or whatever the fuck they're supposed to be in this movie.
Well, like it would make sense if it was like
because it's supposed to be
we're
like years
seeing
before,
earlier.
right?
Yeah, that would make sense. But I
Because
just
he's
don't
the
know.
one who got her pregnant with the Daywalker.
Yeah, I don't know.
It literally like he just bites her and then like it goes to credits and like she's still breathing, so I don't know if that's supposed to be her or not.
Well,
I'm just gonna say we're giving this movie entirely too much time for its non-existent plot.
yeah. So so there's the title and the credits over people dancing at a club.
Oh my god, we're not at the end title and credits.
No, that's essentially what it did sound like. And then
I'm gonna play techno for this whole episode because that's vampires. That's what vampires do.
I got promoted a video on YouTube this week that was a group doing a cappella Mortal Kombat movie theme.
Fuck yes.
God. And I didn't watch it. Now I got to find it again. That just reminded me about it. That's
hilarious. And so there's like shots of people dancing in a club spliced with people getting eaten.
Was this
and
Blade?
According to the subtitles, there was intense music playing. Then there's I wrote people riderzing. That's a little too hard to say, but they're riderzing around. Now we're at a bar. This is where we meet who I don't know what his name is in the movie, but I'm just calling him the Black Ranger because he's the Black Ranger. Immediately, he's the first main character that we meet. And they like, I feel like you use him to make people watch your movie.
It took me like easily 40 minutes into this movie to figure out who he was because like I never watched Power Rangers. Like my sister did a little bit, but I was like, I didn't like sit and watch it. And I knew he looked familiar, and it was like the entire time I was trying to place like what he was from, and like eventually got to it, but isn't he like in some like actual horror movie? Or maybe I'm just thinking of like some like teen I'll figure out. He's in some movie that like it always pops up as like on Instagram when people make fun of like hair from like that time period because he's got the most insane hairline.
Oh yeah, I mean he's in a few things. He was in House of the Dead 2 and something else. I'm not really sure, but yeah, he kind of like obviously was never like the main guy of anything. He was kind of just like the backup, but he was in a lot of stuff. Obviously I was obsessed with Power Rangers, so any hoots. The
end.
Oh, we just met him. Here he is. And he is with somebody that he calls Tiny, who is his brother. And they're basically just like chilling at a bar, yanking each other's chain and whatnot. And Black Ranger talks about how he needs to put himself out there because he wants to meet a woman and stuff. And yeah, Tiny's just making fun of him. Then they do a shot and he smacks Tiny on the head and his friend, and Tiny leaves. There's also a scene where Tiny like slams his his like shot glass down or whatever, and it starts to roll off the bar, and the bartender tries to like grab it but doesn't, and I was like, there's no way that was scripted. It was just very weird. Black Ranger and Tiny play pool, and I gotta say, a lot of like sexist jokes in this movie, which I mean it's from 2013, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Because he's just like making fun of Tiny for taking gymnastics, and he's calling it like a girl sport and such as that, whatever. Meanwhile, there is a girl who is with a guitar who is hitchhiking, and she hitchhikes with this dude, and it's kind of like this movie cuts in between like 5 different groups of people a lot. So
yeah, there's a thing that I've like a lot of sort of like the low budget movies like this do, where like I think they think it looks better, but I'm like, no, please just stick with like a storyline for a minute, as opposed to cutting between like 5 things every 45 seconds.
Because it's also like everything that's going, first of all, way too many characters for what happens in this movie. And second of all, every single scene is pretty much just boring. It's just like people talking. And so I'm like, that this was not necessary. So anyways, it's like switching back and forth. The girl with the guitar gets in the car with this guy and he's talking about how it's boring to be married and stuff. Then they're the Black Ranger and Tiny are like still in the bar and they're like watching this dude like make out with somebody, and then he looks at them and he's like fucking weird looking because he's a vampire. And then there's like people dancing to country while the Black Ranger and Tiny start like beating the guy up. This is like the longest sequence in the movie where the guy ends up like, the vampire escapes the bar and they chase him. They like fight, and then the vampire does this like sick front roll on the pavement, and then they like fight some more and chase him. There's almost no actual fighting, which I feel like is a misstep because like you gotta use that like Power Ranger training, you know, but whatever.
Yeah, there wasn't a single Zord in this entire movie.
Literally. Nobody summoned or transformed into anything, and I was really bummed. Then Tiny ends up literally throwing a stake at the vampire, and he stakes him through the back. And then the vampire bursts into flames and disappears. So that's what we're doing with vampires in this. Then we get
disappearing effects are pretty terrible.
It's great. It's no bolt of lightning, but you know, take what you can get. So now we meet the vampire master, who is just an indiscernible guy with really long fangs, and he literally is just laying in a bed this whole time with like ladies. And there's these like 2 other vampires that are basically like talking to him, and the head vampire master guy just starts talking about how vampires have lived so long that they've become arrogant and stuff. And then one of the ladies is just, and he's like, I'm growing weaker, I need sustenance or whatever. And then she like offers herself to him, and then I don't know, they like drink from a lady, and it's like the most awkward vampire interaction I've ever seen.
All of the shit with this, like I don't understand what his deal was as this vampire leader, because he never gets out of this bed. He's constantly just like, I'm too weak, and it's just like eating women fucking constantly. There's just like a constant stream of like dead naked bodies in the room.
Yeah, I don't know. But basically,
you were supposed to explain this to me, Katie.
Okay, so what essentially the plot we find out is that a daywalker exists, and he needs them to, he basically needs to like feed off of her in order to like get his like mojo back. So he's basically just like drinking all of these ladies, and it's just like basically keeping him alive, but he can't, it's like not giving him energy and stuff. So he like sends this like couple to go and find the daywalker or whatever, and the guy of the couple basically reminisces with the headmaster vampire about like how he was mischievous as a youth or something.
What a bad movie.
Yeah. And then the head vampire says, this is the greatest night in 5 centuries. So now we know shit's gonna go down for real.
It also just at this point doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
yeah. So the hitchhiker girl is like in the car with this guy, and he's like being fucking shady, of course. He gives her a flask to drink out of, and then he pulls over and she's like, what are you doing? Like, you're acting weird. And he's just like, well, we gotta figure out how you're gonna pay for this ride. It's fucking gross.
Yeah, around this point is when I was like, I don't have to pay attention to this movie anymore.
Yeah, no. But then she tases him, which is pretty great. And she gets out of the car and she takes his flask. Now we just randomly at a hotel meet one of our other main characters whose name is Lala. And she is just sitting at a desk in a motel stabbing the top of the desk with a knife.
Yeah, that's how you know she's real emo.
She's literally so emo. And she's like having some like weird like vampire flashbacks, right? Now we meet another random lady who is getting stalked by some vampires and she loses them really easily. So I'm like, you guys fucking suck at being vampires also.
Yeah, they're not great.
No. So then we find out that like that the lady is Lala's mom, and I just called her mom the whole time. So she like calls Lala and is like, "Get your stuff together, we're moving again." And she's just like, "Oh God, mom." Then there's vampire riders riding around.
Kit's back.
Classic.
Yeah, classic vampire riders, you know, just ridersing around.
I can't believe
so now...
Kit missed the like whole. Katie broke down the entire reasoning why this movie, like what is happening in this movie, and it kind of blew my mind. You missed the whole thing.
I shan't be repeating.
I just changed my to 5 stars.
Okay.
Did I miss the bus trip?
No.
Okay. Thank God.
We are just now meeting the priests.
I don't know when that happens in the movie, but
well,
we just got past when the dude tries to like sexually assault whoever at the beginning. We're like 10 minutes into this movie.
Yeah. We met Lala, we met her mom. We were talking about how the vampires fucking suck because her mom literally just like hides behind a trash can and they can't find her. Okay, now we meet the priests, where one of them, who is that guy, forgot his name, but he's in stuff, says that he wants to be says that he wants to leave being a priest because he wants a lady in his life. He just doesn't think he can do it anymore, you know?
Mood.
So now we literally get to the bus station where for some reason we meet 1,000 people. So first the hitchhiker girl gets there, and this is when she meets this guy whose name is Chance. No, wait, it's not Chance. I don't know. You meet a bunch of people here. The vampire riders find their hotel room and are like ransacking it and growling a lot. It's more like hissing, but the subtitles said vampire growling or something. I was like, okay. It's basically just them going like, you know, because they're mad.
I would be too.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're back at the vampire master who is drinking another lady. And he's talking about how he has been placed in a position of authority because of his immense strength and intelligence. In case you wanted to know. And he's basically talking about how vampires are immortal by choice. They've been given nothing. It is by their sheer will that they are immortal. And then he is like, bring the daywalker to me. This is the first time that we actually hear about a daywalker in the movie. And he's like, go get her. And, you know, he eats another lady. Now we're introduced, like I said, to a bunch of bus people. We've got the hitchhiker. We've got the priest. We've got basically just there's like 2 emo like punk kids that are reading what I assume is a Morbius comic.
This movie needed some Morbius to make it good.
They literally nobody morbid at all. Nobody was even morbid a little bit. So and you know there's just like a bunch of other people or whatever. And as the bus is about to leave, Lala and her mom catch it. Meanwhile, as with most of this movie until the end, the Black Ranger and Tiny just drive around and basically like argue with each other. And they talk about how there's been a lot of vampire activity recently because there used to only be like 1 vampire a month and now there's 3 a week. And Black Ranger also never stops talking about trying to find the love of his life, which good for you, you know? If that's what you want, go out and get it. Meanwhile, on the bus, Lala is talking to a guy whose name is Chance. And later we find out he's a Marine and he goes off the deep end kind of. But she's basically like talking to him about how she collects knives. She just has like a switchblade, as you do on a moving bus, whatever. They're just kind of like flirting, you know. And then there's like a scene of two cops eating snacks and being mean to each other for whatever reason. And they receive a call to respond somewhere. Black Ranger and Tiny find a Riderz. Who, that's why I'm saying, like, they see a guy on a motorcycle and just automatically are like, oh, there's a vampire. Like, only vampires can ride motorcycles or something. And they like run this guy off the road and then like shoot him and stuff. And I was like, Jesus. This vampire reveals to them that there's a daywalker that they're trying to find. So word's spreading around town. The bus people stop to get snacks before their trip. And the scene is really baffling to me because we think that the Riderz are trying to, we know that the Riderz are trying to find the daywalker, right? And so there's like scenes of them riding around or whatever. The bus people stop to get snacks, and then the Riderz show up and everyone's like, oh no, and like looking at them kind of wearily, but then they literally just like do tricks on their bikes.
Yeah, they're
like
cool.
Someone pops a wheelie. Someone's like doing that thing where they stand on the bike seat with their arms out and they're just like woohoo, like they're in the fucking circus. And I was
really
like,
dangerous.
What is going on here? One of them just like is revving out or whatever you call it. And everyone just like gets back on the bus and the bus drives away. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
What's going on with this bus is what I want to know. He's making the weirdest stops.
I know.
mean, spoiler, they get to quote unquote Louisiana and it's like at a junkyard and everyone's raving for New Year's.
So, okay, I'm glad you said that because we're almost there and I was very confused about this. So,
okay, I'm glad I'm not alone.
Lala meets the priest, and this is when the priest goes like la 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 la, what a beautiful name or some shit, and I was like, bro, no, absolutely not. And I don't know what is his actual name.
Terry Kaiser. I don't know
Yeah.
his movie name.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant, his real name.
Bernie.
I don't know if people know who he is, but you should look him up because he has a look about him that I don't care for. And if he was singing to me like this, I would be very creeped out.
He's Bernie Lomax. You ever
yeah.
seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Yeah,
You want that corpse singing to you.
he has
This
like
is your
very
movie.
prominent upper and lower eyelids that just make his eyes look cartoonish to me in a way that like freaks me out. Okay. But he sings to her, whatever, and she's just like, okay, whatever, and leaves. And then Lala's mom, of all things, is confiding to the priest that she's worried about her daughter having sex. That's the thing that she's scared about in this world. And the priest kind of like doesn't really know what to say, and so he's just like, oh yeah, I think that is a concern for a lot of families in America. You know what you could do is lead by example. And Lala's mom is like, what the fuck does that mean? And he's like, and then she's offended and she gets up and leaves.
Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to call you a slut.
Yay. You're afraid of your daughter having sex. Maybe try not being such a slut is like essentially what happened. I was like, Jesus, oh my God.
Yeah, he said it. I was like, Jesus
Great.
Christ.
Love it.
He immediately like slumps down in his chair and pulls his hat over his eyes, and it's like, yeah, good. That's the right play, pal.
So the Black Ranger and Tiny pull over on the side of the road and find fresh bike tracks. So they know they're in the right direction of the vampire biker Riderz. So then like the two like head vampire people, I don't know that we ever find their names, but they're always the ones that are like going back and reporting to the vampire master or whatever. They've like kidnapped a couple of girls. For some reason there's like a strobe light going off in the back of their van, and it's like very weird. So they like bring two girls to the master and is like, here you go, master, we think one of these is the Daywalker. And I'm like, how can you not tell? She's half human, half vampire. Like,
Could you
can't
tell?
you tell?
Just look for someone that's running around in the day.
I feel like if I was a vampire, I would be able to tell if somebody was half a vampire at least. Like, how do you not know?
I don't know. I could barely tell if, like, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Nathan, cut that out. Cut that out.
Katie's
We'll
doing vampire phrenology.
Yeah. I just feel like you should know. I don't know. And the master bites the two girls that are there, and neither of them are the Daywalker, and he's upset, obviously. So now the bus is back on the road, and the Riders, who could have just killed and or snatched anybody at the bus stop, now catch up to the bus and are like punching the sides of the bus and like banging on it and stuff, and everyone's like scared and whatever. Then I guess they make a car flip and it explodes. I don't really understand what happened there. There was an explosion. Then it cuts over to Black Ranger and Tiny, who are driving down the road still. They see fireworks, and Tiny's like, ooh, a party. Oh, because we find out that it's actually New Year's Eve. So this is a New Year's Eve holiday classic. And he's like, there's a party there. And the Black Ranger is like, oh my God, I might meet my soulmate there. Let's go. So they're going to just like stop fighting vampires that night to go to this party, you know? So then I wrote, the bus also stops at the party for some reason, ? And I was very confused about why they were at the party. But then later somebody says that the vampire rider guys actually popped the tires on the bus, so the bus had to stop. But like, I don't feel like we saw that happening.
So they stopped at a junkyard?
Yeah, they stopped at like a junkyard cornfield New Year's Eve rave.
Where else are you gonna get a spare tire?
So I'm wondering,
some corn.
I'm wondering, like, the possibility is there, but I really feel like there's no way that both of us just totally missed that happening. I also did not see the bus driver die, but somebody. So basically, like later when they're arguing about what they're gonna do, Chance the Marine is like, oh, I guess you're going to have to find the bus driver who died, who has the keys to the bus, and then you're going to have to change the two tires on the bus. And I was like, I'm sorry, when did this happen? I don't remember seeing it at all. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe they just like...
They had to cut that scene to make sure they had enough time for that opening scene.
Right.
So I didn't realize that they were at the junkyard until the lady and her martial artist man friend just like hopped in a car, and I was like, what fucking car are they in? And then they got out and there's just like junk cars all around them, and I was like, what the fuck, do they stop at a junkyard? What?
I don't know, because when they it doesn't make any sense.
They're very bad at explaining what is happening sequentially.
Yeah, so they pull up to the party, and it is basically just a rave outside. There is scenes of people just like dancing. The music
Sandstorm.
It's like but it's like if you are listening to a like techno song that has like, I don't know, what's normal for that, 15 layers of music going on, it's like they took that and then stripped it down so there was like 3. It's like the most basic of whatever. And anyways, people are dancing. There is a guy who is talking about how it's the 500th solstice, and I was like, what?
That's a feeling.
And then they start counting down to New Year's, and I was like, okay. And then I don't know why, but for some reason this entire like party scene, they're only focusing on the girl who was hitchhiking and this other dude she met on the bus.
Yeah.
and I was like, they like focus on her a lot, so I thought she was like a main character, but then she literally, they like count down to midnight, and then everyone's like, yay, and then they start making out, and then she just gets shot and dies, and I was like,
this legitimately shocked me. I
Me
was
too!
stunned.
Because I was like, the fuck's happening?
I thought she was gonna fuck that dude.
She was.
I thought that's where it was gonna go.
Yeah.
And then, nope, just hear a gunshot, and she's spewing blood out of her mouth. It's like,
And
oh.
he's like, what? Also, my question is, why are the vampires shooting people?
I was also very confused. I was like, wait, these vampires use guns?
Yeah.
Gunpires?
So, gunpire riders. That's also
now that's
I'm
a film.
like, there's almost no action because it's just like the vampires show up, the vampires attack. Most of them are shooting guns for whatever reason, and then like the people who are getting attacked, like we're not really seeing a lot. So it's just like boring.
Correct.
Okay, so there's like this whole scene of people dying, right? And so everybody, I wrote leftover bus people. So the people who are alive at this point are, I called him the CEO. He's just like a generic businessman. Lala and her mom, the priest, the two emo teens, and Chance. These are the only people left. They all somehow running through a junkyard into a warehouse. So I don't know. I guess the party was connected to it. I don't know. Because then the group just argues for a bunch, like about what they're gonna do. The CEO guy was like, "Gotta be guns blazing. I got a meeting on Monday," and the person's like, I don't know. I think we should like stick together and just like figure this out." And then Chance is like, "Well, I was a Marine, so I'm in charge." And the CEI guy is just like, "No, I don't care about you because I was a paintball champion."
Hell yeah.
And then he asks Chance about don't ask, don't tell. And I was like, fucking, what does that have to do with anything? So again, just very stupid jokes. This is when the Black Ranger and Tiny show up. They find Sticky Fingers and like fight sort of, but he gets away. Then this scene was a little baffling to me because a vampire, like the Black Ranger's standing there holding two guns, double fisting, just like standing there, and a vampire runs up behind him, like not sneakily, right? Just like runs up behind him and grabs him. And then the Black Ranger puts both of his guns in his waistband, then turns around and takes them immediately both out of his waistband and then like shoots the guy. And I was like, couldn't you have just turned around?
No, it had to
Maybe
look
I'm
cool.
wrong. Well, it didn't look cool. He kills him, obviously. Then the CEO guy goes out and shoots a bunch, just like shoots around randomly. And this is finally when the Black Ranger, Tiny, and the group of bus people meet up. And then the Black Ranger's just like, "Hey, P.S., we're shooting vampires, okay? No big deal." And they're all like, okay, I guess. Like, they all pretty much just like accept it very fast.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
The
You're
cops.
there.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The cops finally show up and are looking around. Like, let me remind you that vampires attacked a New Year's Eve party and have slaughtered everybody. The cops show up and are just like, everything looks normal here. Nothing to see.
Cops
like
are vampires.
Sure, yeah, of course. Just doing their jobs is normal. And they get killed by vampires, and it's not very cool looking. Lala confronts her mom, sort of. She's just like, "Mom, I'm sick of running and I'm not going to do it anymore." And then her mom's like, "Well, I loved you the best that I could." It's like strange. And then she like walks over and throws a knife at a guy, and then the vampire gets back up, and then she's like, "Oh my god, what? He got back up." And then Black Ranger's like, "Yeah, if you want to kill him with a knife, you got to like decapitate them or whatever." And then she's like, "What? Well, how do you kill what's already dead?" And then he says, "Kill it again." That was pretty cool.
This scene bothered me because he clearly explained how to kill it.
Like literally.
And she wasn't listening and was like, well, how do I kill it?
Yeah. He literally says, like, you need to cut their heads off or do this. And he, like, throws a stake and it, like, harpoons the guy and he dies. And she's like, but how? You know, like, come on.
Give me a manual, please.
I need a written instruction because you're not good at explaining. Meanwhile, Sticky Fingers gives a vampire speech to all the vampires that are left, basically just being like, hey, we're vampires, like, let's get this shit done. The priest and this is what Kit was talking about this morning. It feels like it's been a whole day, let me tell you. Earlier, where the priest and the mom are like having a heart-to-heart again, and she's like, I tried to be a good mom and I tried to do everything right, and I don't know, will you bless me and ask God to forgive me? And he's like, okay, sure, I'll try. And then he's just like, he can't remember his prayer or whatever, and he just goes, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a priest anymore. And she goes, well, then change your damn clothes. And it was so funny. I'm like, lady, he literally quit being a priest and then immediately got on a bus. Like, he wasn't carrying like an extra, like,
trying to trick people.
right. He was wearing like a fishing hat or something. Okay. Then I don't remember who he's talking to, but Tiny basically explains that him and the Black Ranger are vampire hunters through their family. So, like, their dad was a vampire hunter, their father before them, et cetera, et cetera. They are just a family of vampire hunters. And somehow Tiny knows this information. Here is the plot of the movie. Every 500 years, the vampires sacrifice a daywalker. They need to catch her, burn her, and then eat her ashes in order to get immortality. Which, first of all, I guess you have to just hope that there's a daywalker every 500 years. Also, if you're only alive for 500 years without having to do something specific, I don't really know if that can count as immortality. But
why even, like, make up this new sort of vampire lore bullshit for this terrible movie? Like, just come up with anything else for a reason. Like, she's a threat to their fucking survival or something, you know?
That's like the normal plot, right? Or it's just like they want to kill like the half vampire, half human because they're like a affront to nature or whatever the fuck. And I think that the reason that they did it is because they ran out of money and or plot and or movie to have them fight the master vampire. And so I think that they just made this plot as a way to like get rid of the master vampire without have to actually like have him interact with anybody, because he is clearly just like in a room, like he probably just filmed that in his basement or something, you know what I mean? Like so that's where we find out this is what's going on. So all of the other vampires are trying to catch who we assume is Lala. Like, I don't think they ever explicitly say like she's the daywalker. They have her have weird flashbacks, but like, okay. So because this is when Lala confronts her mom about it, and she's like, Mom, am I the daywalker? And her mom's just kind of like, I don't know. Or like, I don't know, you know, whatever. It is what it is. And she's like, I just did my best to protect you. And I was like, what are you? Okay, fine. They don't want to commit to it, I guess. The CEO guy and the Marine argue about war not being the same as going into the office and this, that, and the other thing. And then the Marine tells us
that's true.
I mean, no, it's not. Yeah. He's like, I've been in a board meeting. I know what war is like. And the Marine's like, sir, you do not. Then the Marine tells his like war story, which is really sad. I guess I don't really understand what it is except for that he pushed a guy out of a car and then there was an explosion and he was discharged dishonorably. So, you know, it is what it is. Then the priest decides, like mere moments after he told Lala's mom that he wasn't a priest anymore, that he's going to say a prayer for all of them. So they all say a prayer. And then Lala and the Marine make out, of course. Everyone leaves the warehouse to fight the Riderz, and then there's just like this long scene of everybody like sneaking around, shooting guns, and like vampires hissing and whatnot. This is where like the CEO guy definitely gets killed. I thought that Lala's mom also got killed, but I guess it was just like some random girl that was hiding. I have no idea, but she's dead also. And Tiny gets hurt. So then it all comes to a close, like whatever. Some of the vampires like grab Lala and are like holding her captive or whatever. The Black Ranger shoots Sticky Fingers, and then they fight. Sort of fight is a loose term here. The Black Ranger wins. Lala is like she's being like held, like literally just like held by some of the vampires, and then they show her like flashback of like somebody going like whatever, which I guess is what we're assuming is her being a daywalker or whatever. Then her like vampire powers awaken, but literally the only thing she does is like leg sweep a guy and then like stab somebody, and that's it. And I was like, okay,
pretty vampiric.
Yeah. Then after that, the like main like vampire master's like henchman guy like shows back up to him, and the vampire master guy is just like laying there like he at this point like can't even talk really or anything, and he's just like, Master, Sticky Fingers has died and we didn't get the daywalker. What will become of me? And the master just like dies and disappears. I was like, while
I was lost in the ether, did y'all discuss how super sick it is whenever vampires die and vanish in this film?
We did, because then I was like, Nathan said something about like special effects weren't great, and I was like, they're really good. There's no lightning bolts, but pretty good.
They blew their load on the first guy turning into fire and burning away. And then everyone else are just like, I can't figure out how to use the fire effect anymore, so we'll just fade them out. It's fine.
Accidentally deleted that program, so now people just blink out. Lala's mom is basically just like, I'm sorry, I lied to you, even though like she never told the truth, actually. And then Lala goes and kisses the Marine guy. And then what I feel is in bad taste, the Black Ranger asks Lala's mom out on a date. But she says yes, and she just gets in their car, even though Tiny is like bleeding out in the car. You know, like, let's just forget that, I guess. Then there's just like a scene of like the Marine guy and Lala walking down the street, like in the daylight or whatever. And then it's like the end, but then we see a scene of like the two emo kids who I forgot existed at this point, because I don't think they show them fighting at all, even though they are in the warehouse part. And I was just like, oh, wow, they're alive. And then they're just basically talking about how they're vampire hunters now. So maybe Demon Bikers is the sequel with them.
What is the deal with like the magazine or comic book or whatever the fuck they drop at the end?
So they were showing it earlier, and I think it looked to me like they were reading like a vampire comic, and I think it was probably supposed to be like a Frog Brothers type thing.
Wow.
And the cover looked to me like a weird like Morbius like ripoff or something. And so I think that they were just like, we're vampire hunters now, we don't need this anymore, and they throw it down. Then they just also after that show a scene of Sticky Fingers being alive. And he's just like, rah!
Yeah, he didn't fade out like every other vampire, so they should have known that he wasn't dead.
Right.
But then when he wakes up, it's daylight?
Yeah, and he's fine. So
what a stupid movie.
Then it's the end, so I just don't even know what to do with that.
Oh, I hated this.
It was pretty good.
It just
Y'all check it out.
Yeah. You know how I always say, don't watch these movies. Watch this one.
Yeah, it was like, I think there just was like something missing about it. Like, I don't know. It just was like boring, and
Not
the
enough
action was
Bernie.
boring.
Needed more riding.
Speed
anyway.
Demons came out before this movie, so I think this is a
Oh,
sequel.
dang.
Oh, well,
Oh.
Speed Demons, two vampire hunters desperately try to keep someone alive. So, yeah, the world is in chaos and vampires rule the streets, searching for the Daywalker. Two vampire hunters desperately try to keep her alive. And it also stars Sticky Fingers, Walter Jones, Al Santos. Speed Demons might be Vampire Riders might be a sequel to something we didn't watch. I gotta find this movie now.
Fuck.
It's only got 2 people that have ever seen it on a Letterboxd.
I really wanted to just be the only person to give this movie 5 stars.
You know, and Walter
No one's
Jones
given it anything above a 3 stars.
is actually listed in this one too, and so is the guy who plays Tiny, whose name is Smalls.
Was Walter Jones' name Terrence in the movie? Do you remember?
I don't know. I just called him
Al
Ranger, but yeah,
Santos
I
is
think
named Chance in Speed Demons, so
yeah, and Tiny is Tiny. So
yeah,
I think
we missed something. Maybe this movie would have made perfect sense if we watched Speed Demons first.
Well,
foolish of us to have not pieced that together.
Speed Demons from 2012. Yeah, whoops. I gotta say, very, very different caliber of cover art for these 2 movies.
The only thing coming up on YouTube is Speed Demon by Michael Jackson.
A little different.
I will find this movie and see it now, but it looks like it's pretty MIA.
You know what? And I think this girl, maybe this makes a lot more sense, because I think the girl who is the hitchhiker in this movie is also in Speed Demons.
We could watch Scooby-Doo and WWE Curse of the Speed Demon.
There we go.
Yeah,
now we're getting somewhere, I think.
Yeah, this movie was terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it rocked.
I don't think this isn't like super low on the list compared to some other stuff, because it wasn't like insufferable to me. It just was like very boring.
It's definitely not like a bottom 10 for us by any stretch of imagination. It's just so boring.
Yeah.
You guys gonna get VR headsets for this Eli Roth Valentine thing?
Yeah, you know it.
There's nothing I want less than than the horror movies on Meta to fucking become a thing.
Yeah, same.
And yet everybody on Instagram seems very excited about this, so fuck them.
No.
Fuck Eli Roth too.
Yeah. If you haven't heard it before from us,
we're fans.
Really
liked Knock Knock.
Ooh, we're fans, to say the least.
I don't think there was like any cool news I saw. The Alien TV series apparently in pre-production.
Ooh. I saw that Jean-Claude Van Damme's daughter is going to be in a movie, but
wasn't she already in a movie? Wasn't she in the fucking Alien movie we watched?
I was about to say, I can't remember if I've seen her in anything.
I'm pretty sure like the reason he's in that Alien Uprising movie was because she was in it.
You're right, the one that I watched the wrong movie. That was the fucking worst. Yeah, I forgot about that.
All right. What Katie, did you watch anything this week?
No. So this kind of like goes with my shout out too, I guess. I've been trying to read a lot more because I used to read a ton, and like I haven't really read anything in the last couple of years. So I've been like, any of my free time I've just been like reading instead, except for we did finish NCIS. Well, we finished all that was free of NCIS. Listen, it's so stupid.
They're gonna
And
start
like,
watching Jag next.
he already watched the first season of Jag and he loved it. I don't like, I don't know, like we just like literally put it on when we're trying to go to bed, and I like it because I'm not invested and I don't care about it at all. So like either I watch it and it's like funny because it's so edgy and ridiculous. Also the special effects are just like insanely dumb. And then I can just like fall asleep whenever I want, and like he could just like keep watching or whatever. So our newest show like that is Robert California in Blacklist. It is not great. It's not like the same caliber as NCIS though, because it's like kind of intense. There's like a bunch of mob stuff and whatever, and like teeth pullings and stuff like that. But it's like kind of equally as stupid. So I've just been watching that, and then I'm just like back to watching my ghost shows. So hopefully this week I'll be able to watch something like, you know, my list is not getting any shorter, but I just like am not watching anything.
Kit, did you watch anything?
I think really the only thing I watched was Blue Monkey, which is fairly fun if you go in knowing that it's not about a monkey and it takes an hour for the gigantic insect it's actually about to show up.
All right. I don't know what that's about. For some reason, that title sounds familiar from something, but I don't remember what.
It says you gave it 1.5 stars, so
Yeah, I don't remember
You
watching
said
that.
this could have been a solid 2.5 stars, but the entire middle 30-40 minutes is so fucking boring.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies I don't remember because they are wildly boring.
Yeah.
I watched Rats: Night of Terror.
yeah,
Very good.
banger.
Perfect
Rats.
ending to a movie I've ever seen. I watched so one night my Tubi app just like stopped playing commercials, so I just let it roll.
Perfect.
And it played 4 cannibal movies in a row, which was a bummer.
Less perfect.
So I watched White Cannibal Queen, which was pretty terrible.
Oh no, that's a terrible name.
I don't think that's like it was. It's like it was just called like The Cannibals or something on Tubi, and it's one of those ones that has like when you go to like Letterboxd, has 3,000 different fucking titles.
Yeah,
and for some reason that's just the one they chose for the.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see. What else did I watch that was new? Tentacles from 1977. Another banger. Giant fucking squid movie.
I loved Tentacles.
It was great.
Its rating's way too low on Letterboxd.
It's a little too long, but like
just a tad.
It is pretty cool. You get to see a fucking baby get pulled into the ocean at the beginning.
Ooh.
Doubleheader with Orca would be perfect.
Yes. I watched it right after Cruel Jaws. It worked.
Fuck yeah.
What else was new to me on here? Night of the Zombies by Bruno Mattei. I had never seen. And it was fine. It is like a shitty Italian zombie movie. I watched Vincent Price's The Last Man on Earth. I somehow had never gotten around to. I don't
think I've seen that one either.
It's pretty good. Like, I'd recommend it. He's chewing up all the scenery.
Fuck yeah. All I want.
Yeah. I watched The Killer Must Kill Again, which I think is another one of those ones that I know is like a different title, but that's what Letterboxd is calling it. It's like a Luigi Cozzi giallo, and it was fine. And
the killer keeps killing.
I watched.
He's killed again.
Lucio Fulci's The Psychic, or 7 Notes in Black, which is pretty good. And then I watched a terrible torrent of Mathregan.
Mathregan.
And it was terrible. Not a fan.
It was.
What are they gonna do when they get to the third one?
Yeah, what are they?
I guarantee you the next one they'd make it's gonna be a 4 for the A instead.
Oh yes, Megan 34.
It's
the best sequel.
I desperately just want these meme movies to fucking not happen. They're
too bad.
I know they're never going anywhere, but it sucks.
Absolutely not.
That's pretty much it. That I watched a very good movie for our bonus episode.
Yeah, the best movie.
All right, Katie, what was your shout out? Reading more.
Yes. Read more. What did I read? Oh, I finished Stephen King's last book, Fairy Tale. It was all right. Obviously not a horror. It quite literally was a fairy tale type story. But it was like interesting to like read something different because I don't really think I've read anything from him that wasn't just like straight supposed to be horror much. And then I started reading actually a new book that just came out today by an author I've talked about before. Grady Hendrix just came out with a book called How to Sell a Haunted House.
The house is haunted. Get out.
Like that's pretty much the book. It's how to get out. And so far it's so good. I think like I've read literally all of his books and I enjoy them, and then he's got like the Stephen King syndrome for me where like I just don't like his endings. But I will support him and everything that he tries to do because he's the one that did the Paperbacks from Hell that we've talked about before that like got all of those books starting to get like reprinted or whatever. So mad respect. But I'm enjoying this one so far, so we'll see.
All right, Kit, what shout out?
Negative shout out. Hulk Hogan finding the Church of Scientology.
Oh no!
Oh
no! That rocks.
The dumbest possible combination of powers. Amazing.
Tell me more about that.
I'm not sure when he got tangled up, but someone who's like involved in Scientology posted like a selfie with him at a Scientology run. I don't know if it's like a food place or what, on Scientologist owned land, like in their whatever kind of compound. I guess he's wearing like a Scientology shirt in it or some shit. It's like, oh no.
Oh, sir.
I mean, it's not a huge loss. He's a terrible person, but
yeah.
What can you do?
That fucking meme of him.
They just like don't really need more people to be contributing to that. If you ask
that's
me.
The main thing.
Well, yeah, true. I don't know how that place is still open, but the meme of him destroying the two towers or the twin towers after like all the rumors about the fucking Saudi government or whatever buying WWE was very funny. Fuck, I just had a shout out. Hulk Hogan just wiped it from my brain.
They booted it out of your head.
I legit, what the fuck was it? Negative shout out 420 Day Fiance. Not 420 Day Fiance, 90 Day Fiance. 420 Day Fiance is still very good. 90 Day Fiance. Like, just the fucking. I've been towards the end of Happily Ever After, and it's fucking brutal. It's just, they keep picking the shittiest people to come back, and it sucks. But I'm still watching it because I'm an asshole. I don't know. I had a real shout out, but I don't remember what it is now. So, real shout out.
Was it Korn?
No, I'm really a big fan of Korn.
What? Korn rocks.
I like Korn like in some things, but my teeth are all fucked up, so I can't really eat it without it like getting stuck everywhere. I just can't do it.
Fair.
I had a very good vegan cheesesteak yesterday. I'm gonna shout out that.
Oh God, yum.
If you're in New Jersey, near Asbury Park, it's very good.
All right, I'm on my way there.
All right. I don't. We still got to figure out what we're doing next week because there's gonna be. I think if Kit and I are gonna do an episode, I think while Katie's gone, Tiffany, and I might do an episode while Tiffany's there. I don't know what. So there'll be some surprises the next maybe 2 episodes.
There will either be surprises or there will be no surprises.
Kit and I for sure will probably do an episode Tuesday on something. We haven't really figured it out, and then we talked about.
I've got an idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in for whatever. So, but I don't know if that'll be next or Katie, Tiffany, and I talked about possibly doing something a day while she's there. So I don't know. We'll see. Something next week. Probably. I'm gonna say Jackass Forever with Tiffany and Katie. All right, if you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IHopeYouSufferPodcast. Probably when this is out, you could be listening to Katie scream about Freddy got fingered for an hour. Well, Kit and I just talk about how good it is.
It's a perfect film.
Oh man, I cannot wait. Katie, having to watch it on Plex, I'm sure was a very good experience for Katie.
Listen, I have some shit to say about Plex.
Yeah, same. But you'll have to sign up for the Patreon to hear us complain about that again. You can buy merch at our Storefront tier shop. You can leave us a rating on Spotify, a rating and review on iTunes. Leave us a review and tell us if you've seen Speed Demons. And if you have, let me know how I can watch it. Cardinal, whatever your last name was. Umberto? Lamberto? Yeah.
Lamberto.
I know you didn't direct Speed Demons, but I don't know. Let me watch it.
Hit us up.
Sorry we said your movie was bad if you can let us watch Speed Demons.
We also explain.
What if Speed Demons literally answers every question we had?
Yeah.
It might.
Like a perfect film.
Yeah. You can follow us on Instagram at IHopeYouSufferPodcast. Follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitrification of Blood. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face. And you can join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. You can listen to my other podcast, Nate Kid Movie Club. Surprise next week. Surprise episode. I'll let Kit tell me what his idea is after we're done. Yeah, we're going to talk about Mystery, the pickup artist.
2 hours.
Kit and I are gonna do commentary on every episode of The Pickup Artist.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
It's just us crying. I've never seen an episode of that, and I'm sure it's fucking terrible.
Has to be.
Alright, I hope you
Oh wait, what was it?
Die while suffering. What was it?
Shit.
Is that what it was?
I hope you
die if you suffer.
I hope
die
you
if
die
you
if you
suffer.
suffer.
There it was.
But why?
Yeah.